in a world obsessed with control, effort, and dominance. Lao Tzu offers a quiet paradox. That which is soft is more powerful than that which is hard. That which yields endures. That which bends does not break. We look at water, shapeless, formless, without identity, and we often overlook its quiet strength. It does not push, it does not fight, it does not impose, and yet, over time, it carves valleys through mountains. It hollows out stone. It wears down the unyielding simply by being what it is. This is the way of the Tao, not through struggle, but through flow, not through assertion, but through surrender. We have been taught that to succeed, to be strong, to be worthy, we must fight, prove, protect. But the spiritual path is not about adding armor. It is about shedding it. Water doesn't need permission to move. It simply finds the open space. It does not argue with obstacles. It adapts. And in that quiet adaptation lies a kind of intelligence far beyond the intellect. There is something deeply humbling in realizing that our greatest strength may not be in holding on, but in letting go. That the true path is not to force life into our image, but to allow ourselves to be shaped by the flow of life itself. To be like water is not weakness. It is alignment. It is the courage to soften in a hard world, to be gentle when provoked, to trust movement even when we do not see where it leads, to understand that stillness is not stagnation, and that yielding is not defeat, it is wisdom. Water teaches presence. It is always fully where it is, not resisting the container it's given, but never forgetting its essence. And that's the invitation Lao Tzu extends to us, to stop clinging to rigid forms, to stop resisting change, to become less of a shape and more of a presence, to dissolve the edges of the ego until all that remains is flow. To surrender is not to retreat. It is not passivity. True surrender is alive, awake, responsive. Like water, it moves where it is needed, but never in haste. It does not resist, but neither is it blind. This is the paradox, that in letting go, we find direction. In releasing control, we discover true movement. Water doesn't try to be water. It doesn't try to flow. It simply does, because its essence is flow. And so it teaches us, you do not need to strive to become what you already are. The more you grasp, the more you block the current. The more you chase, the more you miss what is already here. We've built lives around resistance to change, to emotion, to uncertainty. But resistance is tension. It is the clenched fist that keeps us separate. Softness, on the other hand, is openness. It is the open hand, the quiet heart, the unguarded presence. Lao Tzu did not teach by instruction. He taught by reflection, by pointing us back to what we already see, but do not notice. The river, the rain, the oceans, tides, all are masters of the Tao because they obey nothing but the natural rhythm of existence. To follow the Tao is to stop trying to lead life and instead to be led by life. To be fluid means to be free. Free from identity, from rigidity, from the illusion of control. This doesn't mean we become doormats, that we let the world walk over us. No, water is gentle, but it is also unshakable. Its patience is its power. Its stillness is its strength. and when it must, it roars. But it never becomes what it is not. Even in the storm, it remains water. Can we live like this? Can we drop our need to always know, always explain, always resist? Can we let ourselves be moved, moment to moment, by something deeper than thought? When we stop asking life to be different, we begin to see it as it is. And in that seeing, there is peace. Not the peace of escape, but the peace of recognition, of finally being in harmony with the nature of things. When we think of power, we often imagine force, the ability to push, to bend, to dominate. But the Tao reveals another kind of power, one that doesn't oppose, yet never breaks. Look at the river carving a canyon, not with violence, not with resistance, but with constancy, with presence, with softness that persists. This is not just a lesson in physics, it's a mirror to our lives. How often do we attempt to change ourselves or others through pressure, through willpower, criticism, comparison? And what does it lead to? Exhaustion, frustration, disconnection. But softness is not weakness. It is the deep intelligence of life itself. A gentle heart listens more than it speaks. It embraces what is, without needing to reshape it into a perfect form. And in that embrace, something magical happens. What is held in tenderness begins to transform on its own. The Tao does not shout. It whispers through the leaves. It hums in the silence after the rain. It lives in the moment you stop trying to become and simply breathe. To walk the soft path is to trust what you cannot control, to meet discomfort with patience, to allow what rises to rise and to fall away without grasping. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing, to sit with a feeling, to listen instead of defend, to be still even when the world demands movement. This path of softness does not require belief. It requires honesty, the willingness to be with what is without disguise. You don't need to bend the river. You need to stop building dams around your heart. To be like water is to move without agenda, to love without possession, to give without depletion, to receive without guilt. It is to trust that life, in its wisdom, will carry you, and that you, in your stillness, will remember you are not separate from it. There is nothing to fix, only to feel, to flow. There is a teaching in Taoism that says, when nothing is done, nothing is left undone. This is not an invitation to laziness, but to alignment. Water doesn't try to reach the ocean, it simply flows. And because it flows, it arrives. So, much of our suffering comes from resistance. Resistance to change, resistance to uncertainty, resistance to how things are. We grasp for control as if it could shield us from life's impermanence. But the river never clings to its banks. It embraces the bend, the fall, the stone, the stillness, and through that surrender, it shapes worlds. In your own life, where are you resisting the flow? Where are you trying to be the mountain when life is calling you to be the stream? Lao Tzu understood this paradox intimately. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. It's not just poetic, it's reality, history, nature, the heart. They all confirm it. It's not the scream that endures, but the whisper that stays. To live like water is to stop fighting life. It's to move with it, even when it's uncertain, even when it's quiet, even when you feel lost. Water teaches presence. It teaches humility. It teaches the elegance of the unforced. In relationships, it means not needing to be right. In emotions, it means allowing the wave to pass. In challenges, it means adapting without breaking. The more we return to this natural state, the more peace reveals itself, not as a goal to be achieved, but as a ground we never truly left. We're never meant to be a dammed reservoir containing every emotion, controlling every moment. You were meant to flow, to move, to offer and receive, to return. And when you forget, remember this: even a drop of water, in its softness, has the power to shape the hardest stone. You are not separate from that power. You are not different from that stream. Let go, flow back to the source. And in that surrender, you will find not weakness, but the quiet, unshakable strength of the Tao.